What is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. This week we're going to be carrying out a weekly market forecast for the market ahead of the upcoming week. And we know that there is definitely some interesting news which has happened over this weekend. And today I'll just be breaking down where I am in terms of the market overall as forecast for more specifically gold, silver and BTC. In the current climate, as at the moment they are the only pairs that I'm currently trading and focusing on in terms of long-term investments. So we'll just be having a bit of a deep dive and giving a breakdown of where we are currently in the market. Based on what's happened recently in the news, we know that Trump has decided to make the decision to blast Iran's leader out and killed him. So yeah, quite a shock, I would say. Definitely a change, and it will have an impact on the markets. Reason why, especially for gold and other assets, we know that stocks will sell off because of this, and there'll be favorable abilities where hedges and investment and retail will be going into buying gold and also buying oil, which will spike the price. As we know, in the Middle Eastern countries where Iran and Iraq and in Dubai, the Middle East, they hold the supply for the most oil, and we know that if there is not enough supply and there's more demand, then that will push the price of oil. And relative to gold is when assets like gold and metals, they typically rise up, and the reason why is because of the uncertainty of the war and how it will end and what the outcome will be. So it's used as a hedge against inflation, and people kind of put their money and park their money towards this kind of asset just to see where and what will happen next, essentially. And it's a very interesting time we're currently in, and in the imminent shorter term, I would say for any investor or any retail trader, please take this advice. I mean this in the best way possible, that you take these high impact geopolitical problems as a pinch of salt, and we know that they're out there just to make headlines and make you perceive in a certain bias or way, just the way the news is produced and how they convey their headlines when they put the news on. So just bear that in mind. Any investor that's out there in the world, anyone retail or anyone's looking to take any positions in the current climate. As we know, this is coming towards the end of the first quarter of 2026. We only got 30 days left of the year, of this quarter. So it'll be interesting to see what March brings us. February overall was, you could say, if we drop to the monthly time frame, a positive month overall. January was positive. So from a standpoint, gold has been up 22% in the two months. Is quite frankly an interesting topic to discuss, and we'll carry out a deep dive now. So on the weekly time frame, you can clearly see the higher time frame trend is up. We've got the local resistance at 5,500, and essentially last week I did enter longs, which I'm currently still in a position on gold. And the reason why I took this position was based on the overall change of character, and also a sweep of where buyers started to take control. In the imminent shorter term, I'm looking to see what price will do at my second take profit, which will be 53.44. And essentially, if we get some sort of rejection, or if we blast through that level and attack the all-time high again, then I'll probably either carry or move my stop and adjust my take profit if and as required. So that's currently the outlook on the daily. So you can see on the daily also that I have this local retracement at 618 and a 0.382, And if you drop down to the 4 hourly time frame, just to kind of get a better view of the market. So in the imminent short term, we've got this sharp sell-off that we had at the end of January, and we've had this bounce of where 618 decided to come into support and sellers stopped selling this market. Buyers stepped in, and since during this period we haven't broken this structure as of finally the 22nd of February, and that change of character has now led to a new trend leg, causing price to potentially push up. So that's why I did an expansion level or a trend-based fib extension, just to see what kind of price targets I could reach for. Typically my 1 to 2 is fixed to take profit, but we're clearly above that. But we know that this is a position trade based on how I'm going to take this. So going forward, we're just going to see what happens and what the market brings to us towards the open tonight. And we know that the market opens at about 10 p.m. UK time. So that's my outlook on gold, overall time frame, and the overall time frame and the overall trend at the moment is bullish, but we never know for uncertainty until the market opens. So we always trade price action as traders. That's the most important thing. Moving down to silver on the monthly time frame. So silver at the minute, with carrying out some of my analysis already, we've got this first local support retracement, 618, and this was an F5 tag as we call it in the book. Price tapped into half of its retracement at least 50%, 60% at least, and dropping down to the daily time frame, we had the sharp sell-off and then a bounce and created this overall consolidation, and now we've had another trend leg push, kind of similar to gold, where we've broken above this key high of $92 per ounce, and now is currently attacking a local Fibonacci extension of $94 per ounce. And the key important thing for silver for me would be to see what or where it goes in terms of price action development. In the imminent shorter term, I don't intend to take any positions on silver, fairly due to how, my systems and how they're trading within this current climate. But one thing is for certain is that if price does reject from any of the levels, I've got one area of interest which will be interesting for me, and that is this, where this breaker structure happened. This would be a zone for me to potentially get an entry in, as every time price tapped into this breaker structure, we know that this breaker structure had more than above average volume based on the move. I believe, we had more than above average volume, and every time price tried to fill this, we failed. So seems like there'll be a trend leg and continuation for this market. But in the imminent shorter term, on the 4 hourly time frame, we know that the trend leg is up, and we're just kind of waiting to see what happens next. And carrying over to Bitcoin, so my outlook on Bitcoin in the imminent shorter term is that we potentially, on the monthly now, we've had the sharp sell-off, as we know, on a monthly close, February and January negative. Dropping down to the weekly time frame, you can clearly see the trend is still bearish, and we are trying to reclaim 67 to 68. We've had candlestick closes below that level, which is technically liquidity, you could say, where price wicked into those levels. But the reason why it wicked into those levels was because buyers were stepping in at that level. So for me, my personal area of interest would be 57k. Now 57k should provide us with some strong level of support, purely due to how the market is driven. And if I do potentially see a continuation of the current trend, essentially I'd expect a bounce. I know the trend, you're fighting against a trend in the imminent longer term and shorter term, but the important thing is that we look at taking calculated risks, and the position that I would take would be less than 1% risk, so I would have my stop somewhere around 52, because we have not tested anywhere below 57 at the moment. The lowest price has gotten to is 59k. So I'm not 100% sure if price will go any lower, but the key important thing is that we just keep an eye on price action. As traders, we need to develop and identify the price changes and adapt as independent individuals. So yeah, like here I still have my long-term position on Bitcoin. If it does go anywhere below 50k, I've got to stop there. So yeah, I'd say let's just see in the imminent shorter term on the smaller time frames that do we see some sort of reversal here. In order to see a reversal, we would have to create a new higher lows. So the idea of this is that if I just draw this up so you got a better view. So we've got a local bottom, we made a lower high, but we haven't broken any of these resistance profiles in the shorter term. So in order for price to actually push, it needs, at the moment it's rejected as a lower high, created a higher low, another lower high, and then another lower low with a breaker structure. Now a new higher high has been made, but you can't really trust the weekend price action. So in the imminent shorter term, you're either waiting to see a breaker structure occur above this level, or a sell continuation trade below this level to maybe tap into an area of interest, which would be somewhere around here for me. So yeah, I think for me with Bitcoin, if we see some sort of trend shift and trend change in the lower time frames, then it will provide us with a bit of value to see where it will go next and what the key opportunities will be going forward. So yeah, that's essentially my outlook for the market overall on those three pairs. And if you guys have got any questions or want to any advice or anything, please feel free to comment below in the chat, or if you want to see a different style of video, please let me know, and we'll go from there. I hope you guys have a wonderful trading week ahead. Stay disciplined, stay careful. You're playing with dynamite, and remember to stay on top of your game. Peace out, guys. Take care.